Learning Hebrew is fun and easy. In order to learn how to read Hebrew is a simple task of learning 22 Hebrew letters and 6 vowels. Now, let me introduce to you the Hebrew letters. Here they are: Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ayin, Pei, Tzadik, Kuf, Resh, Shin, and Tav. Those are the 22 Hebrew letters. There is a little song that is sung to remember the Hebrew letters, and you can just follow me real quick with the Hebrew letters song, which is done after a famous melody, a southwestern melody. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Het, Tet, Yud, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ayin, Pei, Tzadik, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tav. And that's the whole thing. Now, if you know the Hebrew letters, you know 22 Hebrew letters, and now you need to know the vowels. The vowels give it the sound. Let me ask you a question. What is the sound of this? Here is an English letter. And my question to you is, what is the sound of this letter? Most people think about it for a minute and then they say, and the answer to that is not. This is not the sound. What is the sound of this English letter? It's not and so forth. What is the sound of this English letter? It's not z or anything close to it. Those letters do not have sounds. As surprising as it sounds, they do not. Each letter is a symbol for a phonetic sound with a name. The name of this symbol is M. The name of this symbol is L. The name of this symbol is Z. They do not have sound. In order to make sounds, we need vowels. The vowels are the element that gives sounds to the letter. So if I put the letter O next to the M, I have mo. If I put E after the L, that would be an E sound. If I put an I after the Z, that will give it an I sound. Without the vowels, we do not have sounds. So the same thing works in Hebrew, except in English we have letters that serves as the sound system. The I, O, U letters. And in Hebrew, it works a little different. There are little symbols that comes on top, in the middle, or underneath a letter, and they tell you exactly how to read that letter. So every Hebrew letter that comes with a little symbol on it, you'll be able to read exactly the way it should be read. This is why it's so easy to learn how to read Hebrew, because the letters tell you how to read them. In English, we have words like circle with 2 C's. We have words like night with GH in them. We have words that are difficult to read. In Hebrew, it doesn't exist. You have letters, you have the sound system, the vowels, you put them together and you can read. The task of acquiring the vocabulary would come later, so you can understand everything you read. But the reading itself is not difficult. And by reading, you open the door to a lot of opportunities. You can open a dictionary, you can look at the lexicon, you can use different learning aids that will help you to understand the Bible in a much better way. And this is why it's very important to at least learn the task of reading the Hebrew letters. There are many other reasons that go with it, which I will talk about as we go. But right now, this is it. So let me introduce to you the sound system, which is the 6 Hebrew vowels. Now, as you can see, these are the vowels. And there are more, like 14 of them. But many of them are repetitive, and they are used for grammatical purposes. So we kind of eliminated most of them. We reduced them to 6. And those are the basic sounds in the language. A, E, I, O, U, and a short vowel, which is A. And let me go over it real quick so you'll understand it. Today, we're going to go over the vowels, and then we'll start the Hebrew letters. And once you put those two together, you'll be able to read very quickly. Let me give you an example. The first vowel I want to talk about is the sound of A. This is the first vowel. And anytime you see a horizontal line, either like this, or with 2 dots on the side like this, it's an A sound. The reason for the variety is grammatical, and it's not that important right now. So remember, every time you see a horizontal line under a letter, it tells you that that letter is read with an A sound. So if I do this, this is the letter L. It doesn't have a sound, but with a vowel it does. So this is the vowel of A sound. If I put the letter L in here, then obviously this will be read La. If I put the letter M with the A sound, it will be read Ma. If I put the letter Z with the A sound, that will be Za. If I put the letter T with an A sound, that will be Ta. So this is how simple the sound system is. It's a symbol that tells you how to read the letter. So this is the A sound for all of the Hebrew letters. Let me show you the next vowel is an A sound. So the A sound comes with horizontal dots, either 2 dots or 3 dots, like 3 hanging grapes. And that will give you an A sound. Anytime you see a letter with 2 horizontal or 3 horizontal dots underneath, that's an A sound. Let me go over this with the examples we had before. This is the letter L, and now I want to give it a Le sound. All I have to do is put 2 dots underneath, and that makes it an Le sound. If I do the same to the letter M, that is a Me sound. The letter Z will give us a Ze sound, and the letter T, Te sound. This is how easy it is. You have the letters, and you have the vowels. I'm using English letters to demonstrate it much better before we get to the Hebrew letters, which we'll have to learn how to draw and how to put together. So these are the basic sounds of A and E. The next sound is E, and the E sound is one dot under a letter. A letter with a dot underneath of it is an E sound. So if we take an L and we put a dot underneath, we get a Li. If I put a dot under the M, we get a Mi. If I put a dot under the Z, we get a Z. We put a dot under the T, we get a T. As simple as that. Now, you can see that next to the letter, with a dot underneath that has an E sound, there's a small little letter here. This letter, I will show it to you on a string of letters over here. I will show it to you here. It's the 10th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's the letter Yud. That is the letter Yud. And it's numerically number 10 in the string of Hebrew letters. And it's the smallest letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's equated to a dot, with the top pointing up and the bottom pointing down, with a little dot in the middle. And that is equated to a person praying. He's connecting to God, he's connecting to earth. So the Yud represent the infinity of God because it's so small. So this letter is also used to help the vowels occasionally, like in this example here. In the E example, the E sound, we put a Yud next to a letter, and that will also give us an E sound. So if you have a letter with an Yud next to it, that will give you an E sound. If it has a dot underneath, it will give you an E sound. Both of those will give you an E sound. Sometimes it will come only with a dot, sometimes it will come only with a Yud, and sometimes it will come with both. Those are E sound. The next vowel is an O sound. And the O sound is achieved by putting a dot on top of the letter. And sometimes it comes with a Vav, the letter Vav, which is the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. The letter Vav, I can show it to you on the string of letters, of the Hebrew letters. It is the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, right here. And it's also used like the Yud was used for helping a sound. Sometimes the Vav is used in helping a sound. So that letter in combination with the dot on top of the letter right here will give you an O sound. So if I take the letter L and I put a dot on top, that will be a low sound. If I do the same to the M, I get a mo sound. And if I put one on top of the Z, I get a zo sound, and the same with the T, to. And if I put the Vav next to it, it will do the same thing. So sometimes you'll get a letter and a Vav, sometimes you get a letter and a Vav, and a dot on top. That will make an O sound. So we went over A, E, O, and we have left U. The U is achieved by either having three diagonal dots underneath a letter, or having a Vav, the letter Vav, the sixth letter of the alphabet, the letter Vav with a dot in the middle. For children who want to remember this, we sometimes say that the O is like a basketball, where you put the basket in the basket, the ball in the basket, and it's O. And the other one is U, like you get a basket in your stomach, you get a ball in your stomach in the game, and it's an U sound. So here is your O, and this is the U. Let's see the example here. Three diagonal dots. That will give me, under the L, will give me Lu. Under the M will give me Mu. And under the Z will give me Zu. Under the T, it will give me Tu. That and the Vav with the dot in the middle will give me the U sound. Now let's take a look at the last vowel, which is an sound. It's a short sound, and the closest I can explain it is like in the word bug. Here is your bug. The sound, bug. Abdomen. The short sound. So here is your If I do it under those examples we discussed before, then we have an L under the L, M under the Mem, Z and T, and so forth. So these are the 6 symbols that represent the sounds of the Hebrew language. And if you use those, if you know those, and you know the Hebrew letters, then you put them together and you can read. Let me show you right here. I'm going to go back to here. And I want to point out to you this book that I put together that may help you in understanding this lesson and all the lessons that will come in this series. And it's called the Aleph Bet book. The way the book is constructed, it's very simple. And it's based on repetition and not much memorization. So you can see here the name of the letter is on top, Aleph in this case, the first letter. And it shows you the letter the way it's in print, and then stroke by stroke it gives you the way to write the letter. And after the stroke, it shows you the same thing in gray, which you can trace with your pen and learn how to do this. And then you have room for exercises and some exercises afterwards. So this book, the Aleph Bet book, would be your best tool in order to follow the programs. The programs that we have here are designed to bring the teacher to your home, so to speak, and follow step by step with you to show you how it's done. But with the book, you can continue, you can do your homework, so to speak, and it will help you to practice what it is that we're doing. So the Hebrew vowels are the 6 vowels that we just mentioned here. And again, they are the A sound, the E sound, E, which is a dot underneath and a yud next to it, or separate. The O sound, which is achieved by a dot on top and a vav next to the letter, or either one of those. The U sound, that comes with 3 diagonal dots to make an U sound, or a vav with a dot in it, in the middle, or the sound, which is a short vowel that is achieved by 2 dots underneath the letter. Those are the vowels. This is how simple the system is. Now, just for practice, I can show you here few examples. If I take, we still stick to English letters to make it simple. And if I stick to the English letters, and I write those 2 English letters, the 2 M's, and I put those sounds underneath. What am I getting here? I have an M with an A sound, ma, and I have an M with an E sound, mi. So that will be ma, mi. I use this little trick when I meet new people and they have a complicated name. So sometimes I take a business card and I write under the name, I put the Hebrew vowels. So even if it's very complicated name, I can 3 months later look at it and see exactly how to read it. Mr. So-and-so, and I say it perfectly correct because the Hebrew vowels preserve the correct pronunciation of the name. And that gives me an opportunity to say it properly. So here's your ma, mi. Here is your there's the letter T. And I can put, let's say, U sound under one of the T's, and E sound are under the next one. So I have the letter T with an U sound, that will be 2, and the letter T with an E sound, T. Okay? Just simple things like that. How about something like what would that be? I have the letter Z with an A sound, and as you recall, that will be za. I have the letter Z with an U sound, that will be zu. So just playing with that will give you a little more understanding of how this system works. Now, this is really important to master, and as you can see, I did this before we went to the Hebrew letters. Because once you do the Hebrew letters, you will mesh those 2 together, and you'll be able to actually read. And that will happen very quickly. I can show you on the string of the Hebrew letters right behind me the sounds that were preserved from the ancient Hebrew, even into English. We have in Hebrew Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. In Greek, we have alpha, beta, gamma, delta, exactly the same sounds. In English, we have A, B, the Gimel, which is a G sound, was turned into C. And then Dalet is still the same, the D. A, B, C, D, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta. So you can see on another part of the string of letters, we have the KLMN, which is exactly the same. The KLMN, PQRST. All of these letters are the same order like in the Hebrew. So this was just the first lesson in learning how to read Hebrew. We went over the vowels, and I hope to see you soon in our next lesson of the Hebrew letters.